You may have the most competitive offer in the scenario, but because of the reputation of your agent, they perceive you to be a pain in the butt. So therefore, they're going to go with something that they're more confident gets to the finish line. Four closings in 14 days. So how to get your buyers? You've got 4 closings in 14 days.
Yes.
How do you get the buyers to the closing table? We did a reel, 7 quick things. So let's go deeper on it. Number 1, what would you say it is?
Communication. Interpersonal skills is the most important thing as a realtor that you can have. You've got to be upfront and completely honest with not only your buyers about being detail-oriented of their needs. This is the opportunity to really listen to everything they need. Let them give you that entire list up front to see what we can uncover in the market. And also providing that real-time market statistics and data, because your buyer has the right and the fiduciary to know what it takes to win in a competitive market like we're seeing here in 2024.
And the only thing I'd add to that is perspective, right?
Yes.
Like, so the data matters and all this stuff matters, but ultimately, like as a professional real estate agent, your perspective really matters, right? Because you do this all day long, and for them, this is the first time they may ever have been doing it. This is the first time they may have been doing it in years. And just in my career of doing this since really 08, 09, I mean, I've seen, literally a decade worth of stuff, but a ton of change through that. Think about it. There's COVID, there was the foreclosure crisis, right? Like now we've got a unit crash, right? So the interest rates that doubled overnight, right? So perspective matters on the data that you're providing. And I think that's really where the best from the average, and I would even say even great to elite from good, really differentiate themselves. So what would you say number 2 is?
Staying in contact with the other partner that you have in the process, which is the loan originator. So whether you brought the buyer to that partner that you already have, or that loan originator found you, your partner now becomes a 3-pronged process. The buyer is going to stay in communication with the loan originator, and then as the agent, it's so important for myself and that originator to be on the same page.
Yeah.
I need to know as much as I can about the financial situation, having some really in-depth conversations up front about keeping the finances very clean and tight while you're shopping for a home. We're not going to take out another car loan. We're not buying anything with the credit cards that are excessive. We really want to stay neutral in that position. Yeah. And then I think it's also important to know the upfront conditions. What type of loan is the buyer going to be approved for? And then I would like to know upfront, is there anything I need from the selling side, the listing side? Is there going to be some concessions? All these negotiation tools, to know them up front, to communicate them to the buyer, to have all 3 on the same page throughout the process. That's where I feel the fiduciary is met and the buyer has the best representation.
Yeah, and this will lead into what your number 3 is, but running that with the loan officer and you on the same page, making an offer to help get it accepted.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
And so when you're on the same page with the loan officer, they can help get your offer accepted with the listing agent, because they're calling and giving their own background of success, talking about the qualifications of the buyer, and it brings that listing agent, that seller, just reassurance that this client will get to the finish line should the inspection go well, and so on and so forth. So and that leads, that's a perfect segue into your number 3, which is build rapport with the listing agent. What does that really mean?
It just means doing your job well. First and foremost, it's
Sure.
calling the agent before I show the properties. I like to try to reach out via call or text. Hey, I'm really excited to show this property. Looks like you marketed it really well. If we have any questions, comments, concerns, we're going to reach out. If my clients really like the property and I've already taken that initial step to build rapport, I'm going to be able to uncover as much information as possible to be able to successfully write the most competitive offer for the market. And I think it also just shows respect to your peers. If you are going to do something professionally, don't we want to always achieve greatness and be the best at what we do? I don't think that's possible if you're a buyer's agent, if you're not building the rapport and taking those extra steps with not just the competition, but also who is going to help you get to the finish line for both parties.
Yeah, and the truth is that at the top teams and the top agents work together all the time, right? And it's the Pareto's principle. It's the 80-20 rule. 80% of the business is done by 20% of the people, which is why we talk about on our sales team, the Dealer Group, all the time, about why it's so important to represent yourself in a good way with the other agent, because a lot of times your reputation precedes you. You might get an offer when you're on the list side and be like, oh, I can't stand working with this person. They're going to make it horrible, the entire transaction. Or, hey, it's Anthony with the Dealer Group. I know he's a win-win guy, and we'll work our way through whatever takes place, because I know that's the way the Dealer Group operates, right? And so that part, I think the consumer underappreciates, the fact that your reputation, a lot of times your offer might get accepted or declined based on the agent you choose, right? And you may have the most competitive offer in the scenario, but because of the reputation of your agent, they perceive you to be a pain in the butt. So therefore, they're going to go with something that they're more confident gets to the finish line, right? And so, or the vice versa. Some of our offers we know get accepted because even if we're not the top offer, we're perceived as the top offer because they know we'll get to the finish line whenever possible, right? So I think that matters, and I think it's something consumer just underappreciates because they don't really see that back end piece of it, right? So it might be my 3 favorite words in the English language: clear to close. Yeah.
Yes.
Just if you're a realtor, there's nothing better seeing, especially when you work with a first-time home buyer and you're able to hand them that keys at closing, right? I mean, there's nothing more exciting in this industry than hearing clear to close and then what that means for the people that you represent.